Hello, hello, hello. This is Tara, and welcome to Tara's Mental Calibration. I just realized it has been 11 days since I posted a podcast, and it's kind of amazing how life can distract you from doing what is best for you. You can get caught up in other people's shit, you can get caught up in your own shit. Before I dive in here, let's go ahead and do the disclaimers. I am not a mental professional. I am in trauma therapy myself, so this is about my own experience, and take what you want from it. Also, I may talk about some triggering things, so use your discernment as to whether you want to continue listening. All right, so today's episode is going to be about environmental control. And don't we wish that we can control our environment? So many things I can say about this because I am I'm actually an avoidant by heart. But the way that I'm set up to want to get through this stuff, I force myself to face it. So I have realized over the years that in order for me to try to do something better with my CPTSD, with my trust issues, with everything, is to actually see things for how they are and not get in my loophole that everything and everybody is the same. So, like, if I'm in a confrontation, it feels like it is threatening, but is it really? Is it something that's supposed to help me grow? Is it something that's supposed to help me move forward? Or is it something that's really holding me back? And it's hard to get a clear mind when you're feeling certain things that everything looks like an attack. But that's where the practice comes in, where you stop yourself in the moment and you say, you know what, this is for my greater good. In order for me to do anything in life for the good, I have to face this. Insert struggle or challenge here. So I have been fighting that myself for the past 11 days. To look at certain things of saying I am in control of my healing and I am in control of my growth. And I do not have to do the toxic thing. I do not have to do what I used to do to defend myself. It's like realizing what is truly for me and my growth is going to be imperative to my growth itself. And let me explain that a little bit. We tend to create our own environment. Now, for those of you who are in a certain situation that is still toxic, I'm coming from a space right now from, I hate to say healed mindset because we're never entirely healed, but I'm coming from a mindset of where I can see things clear, even though I am in what feels like a threatening situation. So, with that being said, creating our own environment is what we do. Even when you're on the healing journey, if you're used to chaos, you're going to bring chaos. If you're not comfortable with healing and you're not comfortable and grabbing on to what it is that you want, like you can want to heal, but look at what that means. It doesn't matter who you're around. It doesn't matter what environment you're in. It doesn't matter if you have a rotation of friends that, friends don't stick. Maybe they don't stick because you don't allow them to stick. Maybe you go through relationships because you didn't work it out with who you should have worked it out with. Maybe, and fear can do this to you. Fear can do this to you. I realized that I know I have abandonment issues. And because there can be times where I'm fearful of moving forward because things aren't going my way, or because something isn't, like there's a conflict or there's some kind of disagreement, I know that I am capable of creating my own sense of abandonment. Like, imagine a person who is afraid of being abandoned, but yet they constantly do things to force people to abandon them. Like, really think about that. If you're a person who is so scared of trusting, like, let's say you're a person who wants to be trusted. You're so scared of trusting other people. How are you ever going to be trusted? If you're so scared of loving somebody else, how are you going to be loved? If you're so scared of giving, parts of yourself to the right people, I'm not talking about to, fucked up people. I'm talking about to the right people. How are you going to receive something that you are never willing to give out? There are people who scavenger this planet where they're like, let me just take what I can get and move on. And I have dealt with a lot of those types of people that have taken what they could get and they have moved on because they did not want to give more, or they didn't want to feed back into what they took. They didn't want to feed the connection. They didn't want it to blossom. They didn't want it to bloom. I have had to work really hard to not be like my abusers. But on the other side of that, I have to also work doubly hard to not enable bad behavior. I've always been punished for having boundaries. I've always been punished for standing my ground. I've always been punished for saying something. But now I'm looking at it and I'm like, did I have a hand? I'm not talking about when I was a child, but as an adult, did I have a hand in creating my own environment of unwelcoming people? Because maybe I was scared to trust the right person. I don't know how many people may have fallen through my fingertips. I know that if I am running from a good situation just because there is something there I do not want to face, am I really going somewhere else that feels better? Like, CPTSD can create a false sense of always searching for something. There were some things that I came across on the internet when I was, looking at certain things. I was feeling like I was searching for some kind of information to get past what I've been feeling. And what I've come across is, I don't know who this is, but it was on TikTok, and I'm going to give them credit Rochelle Raynaud, and it's Rachelle. Last name is Reynaux, and she's on TikTok, or they are on TikTok. And it starts off with CPTSD, what may go unnoticed. You connect deeply and quickly, then suddenly need space. Closeness once came with pain or loss. And that is the sense of wanting to run. Now, for me, I'm actually at a space where I don't want to run from something that's good for me. Because if I run from something that's good for me, then guess what? I'm running from something that's good for me. So how am I going to fool myself into believing I'm trying to find something better? Like if a person is already loving, already giving, already feels like home, except when they are holding me accountable for something. 11:11 on the clock, right when I said that. Um, how am I going to find something better or make or fool myself into thinking I need to find something better? Better for what? I'm cutting off love, I'm cutting off understanding, I'm cutting off all the stuff that I really crave, that I really want, just because I'm being held accountable for my behavior. So what is really making me uncomfortable? My own behavior. What's making me uncomfortable is the chaos my own behavior brings. So I've had to learn that, am I really uncomfortable for this person calling me out? Or am I uncomfortable because I'm being held accountable and I can't find an excuse? I can't find a blame. I can't enable myself into saying, oh, but this happened to me. You have to actually face what you need to face in order to move forward. So deep connections that are good for you may feel uncomfortable if you don't want to be accountable for your own creation. You can't do things and create chaos and then get mad when somebody says you're creating chaos. The next slide, it says, you feel guilty when you rest. Rest once meant you were lazy or unsafe, so relaxing feels wrong. I really feel that one. I am getting ready to go on a weekend. It's not really a weekend thing because I leave on Sunday. I don't come back until Tuesday. It's just a small getaway, 20 minutes away from my own house, where I'm going to be able to relax and chill out and not be of service to anyone but myself. And I'm actually happy about that because I feel exhausted all the time. But yet I can't rest because I feel like I'm being lazy or I feel like I'm being judged, when really it's probably in my own mind that that's what I'm doing. Um, growing up, if I sat down, I was being lazy versus resting. So I know that that's a big one. The next slide says, you feel responsible for other people's moods. You learn to keep the peace, to stay safe, even at your own expense. I tiptoe around people that do not want to be held accountable for things. I have a hard time setting boundaries because it's always a shit show. It's always a shit show. But once again, look at who I'm setting boundaries with people who don't want boundaries set because they want to enable themselves to continue acting in their bad behavior. So once again, that's on me that I keep this kind of environment around me. The next slide, you notice small changes fast, tone shifts, energy changes, facial expressions. Your nervous system is always scanning. I am so hypervigilant. I really crave a space where I can just trust it and be creative. Like my authentic self is Like when I'm by myself, absolutely by myself, I am creative. I am prosperous. I am, I get shit done. And I love my own energy. I just wish that I could calm down enough to feel that when other people are in the room and to actually not feel drained. I feel like I have to keep my energy to myself because there's so many energy zappers out there that don't want to contribute back. They just want to take it and run, take it and hide, take it and make it whatever they want, but they don't bring forward what they need to keep it. The next slide. You stay calm during chaos, but feel uneasy when things are quiet. Your body learned that calm does not last. This is a big one. I will check shit out even when I don't need to. I can look at a situation, I'm like, oh, I have been so calm. It has been feeling so good. I don't trust it. Where is it? There's something here because I have been around so many liars. I have been around so many things that there's always a lie that is hidden somewhere. And so I start looking for it. And then when I find it, my feeling gets justified. My feeling gets justified. And it's like getting to a point where it's like, okay, when I feel that, even if it's calm, I don't have a reason to be freaking out, but I always find a lie. I can't think of like one time when I haven't uncovered something to where a person has said they can be trusted. A person has said that they're not going to do this, not going to do that. But it always gets uncovered. And then when it gets uncovered, that's when the chaos happens. That's when the shit show happens. But once again, I have to look at who I'm dealing with. When you deal with people who don't want to grow, you're going to constantly, literally go through this over and over and over again. And it's going to justify your feeling of being uneasy. I would love to see how I would be in an authentic environment where I wouldn't have to worry about trusting my environment. I know that I am a person who can be trusted. So when I have dealt with people who are kind of like I am when it comes to trust, I don't care about them exposing me. I don't care about them, making everything transparent because I'm an honest person and there's nothing for me to hide. Nor do I feel like it's an invasion of privacy. I feel like if they need that for their safety, then I want them to do it. Because once you allow a person in and you're like, you know what, I really am a safe place and I want you to explore. I want you to explore your safety with me so that way you can really feel at home. And, you know, there's a lot of people who don't see that the same way. I would love to see what it would be like to deal with a person like myself, where it's like, I know what you've been through, and I know that you're not doing it because you're absolutely not going to trust anyone. There's a lot of times when you fulfill the trust, there's no need to keep looking to see. But even if you did have a moment where you need to keep looking to see, a person who could be trusted isn't going to mind, especially if they know what you've been through. And I'm not talking about like the whole micromanaging every day. You don't want to micromanage somebody every day. Nobody wants to be micromanaged every day. But if it's a thing that pops up once a month, once a week, just depending on, some days, maybe you can go 6 or 7 months without it. And then a whole week hits where you need to check things out. Maybe it is once a month, but it's a flexibility there in discussing and talking and feeling safe to do what you need to do in order to, like, I'm at that point in my life where if I if everything's going good and I feel the need to like look at something or look for something, I want to be in a space where it's welcomed and I'm loved through it instead of being shunned for it or being punished for feeling that way and protecting myself. So the next slide is you can look put together on the outside, hold jobs, care for others while feeling overwhelming inside or overwhelmed inside. Man, that was me in my 20s and 30s. Next slide. You explain yourself a lot. You want to be understood. You are trying to prevent conflict before it starts. I do that a lot. I have been told I over-explain myself, but that is why I over-explain myself. Because, people. So the next slide is you second guess your memories. You were told you were wrong so many times that you learned not to trust yourself. And that's a big one for me. Like, that's a real big one for me. So even when I'm in a safe space and I want to create safeness, I want to create that space of being safe. I have been told that I'm wrong so many times that, you're safe. You don't have a reason to feel like this, this, and this. And then boom, here comes the chaos. Here comes the exact thing that I knew was going to pop up. Here comes the lie. Here comes the dishonesty. So it's like people like really wonder what the fuck, you know? Um, People like really wonder like what the fuck when I face them with something. It's like you said, but you said. And then they wonder why they're not trusted. But at the same time, once again, my own self accountability, stop trying to trust people who can't be trusted, or stop trying to trust people who haven't truly shown you they can be trusted. CPTSD comes from a long-term stress or abuse, not one moment, but your body lived in over time. And that is the honesty of it. I have been living in trauma since I was a child and then repeating it as an adult and not realizing it until I was damn near 50 that that's what I was doing. And it takes a lot to be accountable for saying, there have been times when I created my own chaos. There are times that I created my own environment because of what I chose to be around. And I have no idea what I cut off. I can only speculate, I really don't think that I cut anything off as opposed to being open and allowing and healthy. And I don't think I ever put myself in a position to actually be open and allow and healthy. But if I had done it back then, I probably would be like a feral cat. I probably would have been like a feral cat. There was a friend that I used to have where she would refer to people's trauma like that. She'd be like, you have to think about them as feral cats, Um, you can feed them, they can love on you one day, but you never know. The next day they might bite you because they're remembering their trauma. And I'm really glad that I didn't have to go through the feral cat phase because it's really fucked up. I've seen it. And it's like a feral cat's not gonna stop itself and say, you know what, this is because of my trauma. This has nothing to do with now. And in order for me to grow and in order for me to get love, I have to stop biting the hand that feeds me. I have to stop biting the hand that is taking care of me if I don't want it to stop doing it. Eventually, a feral cat can keep biting the hand that feeds it, and there's going to be skin breakage, there's going to be blood. Maybe the person will say, you know what, fuck it, let this cat starve if that's what they want to do. I do not recommend starving any cats, by the way, before, I have 3 myself. They're I'm getting off the point. Everybody knows I am not trying to starve cats. I'm just saying that, like, you can get tired of the fight back, especially when it's a person. The resistance. It's like, fine, you don't want me to feed you, but yet deep down, you want me to feed you. So it's like, why do you keep biting? Like, what the fuck is that for? So I've had to apply that to myself as well. And, in my own way, my own roundabout way, I think I have avoided the feral cat phase. And I just want to trust the hand that feeds me instead of believing that, yeah, you're feeding me, but now you're going to slap me. Like, I think mine is just the opposite because I really have been slapped. I would like to be around a person that's not going to slap. And then I can feed them back. And that's with all of my relationships, even the one with myself. So, it's growth. It's growth. It takes time. It takes self accountability. It takes clarity of knowing where you're at. And what is it that you really want? And are you really welcoming that into your life? Because in order to welcome something into your life, you have to be ready to give back what it is that you want in your life. Because if you don't give back what it is that you want in your life, then you're always going to be a taker, a taker, a taker, a taker. And that means revolving relationships. That means always looking for something that's going to provide you with something, but you don't ever have to get back. So that's not something that would go on forever. Can't trust. If you can't trust yourself, then you're not able to trust others. And trusting yourself and knowing that you put yourself in the right environment, that's the hard part, especially when you've gone through so much. But I have yet to experience that, by the way. I want to experience it. It actually puts knots in my stomach. It scares me, but it's like, at least I know I'm open to it. And it's, I'm curious, like, I don't have friends. I don't have any friends outside of my therapist. And I want some. I want some friends. I want friends. But it's hard for me to really open up like that and trust. And, in order for me to, I have to be what it is that I want. I know that whenever I do come across a good friend, I have to be a good friend if I want it to last. So, you know, baby steps. I've actually gone over a little bit. I don't know when I'm going to do another podcast, but this is what I'm doing for today. If you want to email me on any of my podcasts, my email address is terrasmentalcalibration@gmail.com. Feel free to email me. Let me know what you think about this episode, or if you have any questions that you want me to discuss in a future episode, please feel free to drop me an email. And again, that's Tara's Mental Calibration, all one word, no spaces, @gmail.com. So I'm sending you a bunch of love and light, and I will either talk to you when I'm doing my little hiatus for about 2 or 3 days, or I will just talk to you and tell you about it when I get back. All right. Have a good one. Bye.